All right, welcome to Black Swan Revelations. This is a Black Swan Bible study, and today we're going to be talking about the book of Ruth. We're going to be going through it verse by verse. We're just going to have some fun here. Relax. Bring back the old background music. That's for tonight. That's when it gets serious. Play some of the good stuff at night. This is just something a little bit more relaxing. Let's see here. How's everyone doing today? I'm just making some coffee. People wonder a little bit about what kind of coffee I drink. I drink Black Swan coffee. I should actually make my own coffee, I think. There's nothing better than having a little bit of cream. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Oh, here we go. Is there something on my face? Wow. That was a good dose of whipping cream. I wonder how many people I can get in the comments to say, do you think I should do it? No, I'm not going to do it today. Let's not get crazy here. Let's not get crazy. Come on. All right. All right. So let's talk about Ruth. We have to, before we get started, we have to kind of give a little bit of a snapshot of what was going on in this time period. And what I do, and I've shared this before, when I read the Bible, I read it in chunks. So I'll read Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. I'll always read those 5 together. Just like in the New Testament, I'll always read the Gospels together, and then sometimes I'll mix in a little Acts, and then I go all the way from Romans to the end of the Bible. And in the New Testament, you could really do the whole New Testament in like a weekend. So for the Old Testament, I'll do the first 5 books, and then sometimes I'll jump around a little bit. I'll go New Testament back to Old. But right now, what I'm doing is I started in Genesis. I'm just going to plow through to the end of the Old Testament. Seems to be chugging along pretty good. This will be my 4th time going through the entire Bible this year. I hope to be finished. Where am I right now? I just finished Ruth, obviously, why we're doing a Bible study. Just finished Ruth. So I'll be jumping into Samuel, and I'm hoping that by the end of the week, we'll see. What's today? Today's Tuesday. Yeah, it'll be close. Probably a week or so, a week or 2, and I should be done the Old Testament. We'll see. We'll see. But if you go through Judges, which basically you have Deuteronomy, you have Moses writing a letter, basically recapping everything that has happened to Israel over the past 40 years and just summarizing, look, the commandments are not hard. God only gave you 10. It was just engraved in stone, probably 5 on one side and then 5 on the other side. Like he wrote on both sides of the 10 commandments. And that was it. There was no sacrificing lambs, goats, sheep, anything. That was it. That was the rule from the beginning. If you follow these 10 commandments, we are just a few steps from going into the promised land. And really, I believe it was only like 11 days journey, and they would go inside the promised land. And a few people decided, hey, Scott, how you doing? A few people decided, hey, Moses, why don't we send out some spies? Because we can scope out the land, and then we can know which cities are really heavily fortified and which ones aren't, which ones are not. So Moses thought it was a pretty good idea to send out these spies. And when they came back, they had a bad report. I mentioned this in other videos talking about giants eating their children and all this kind of stuff. And they're like, these giants, they will eat us alive. They will eat us alive. So 10 of them brought back a bad report, and 2 of them said, we could do this, guys. We can do this. We can jump in and we can take over this whole place. God is with us. That was Caleb, which he ended up getting the area of Judah, Hebron, that region. And then also Joshua ended up getting basically where the tribe of Ephraim, just north of Jerusalem, he had that area. I was allocated to him, and that's where actually they took the bones of Joseph from Egypt and buried Joseph there. The reason why I bring up the spies is because 40 years later, Joshua sent 2 spies out. He got smarter. He sent 2 spies instead of 12 to go spy out Jericho. So they went across Jericho. They went into the city, had a look at the layout of the land, and stayed overnight at a prostitute's place. And her home was actually built within the walls of Jericho. And there was a rumor that there were spies somewhere in the city, somewhere in the land, to come and check out the area. So then they were sending guards, knock, knock, knock on the door. We have reason to believe that you have men in your place to bring them out to us. And she said, oh, I did have men here, but they took off. I don't know which direction they went, but they literally just left before you guys showed up. And if you catch them, if you leave now, you'll catch them. So they left, and the doors were shut. So Rahab hid them on the roof, And she said, please don't kill me. Don't kill my family. Um, we heard a rumor that you guys were coming. We knew what happened to the Egyptians, and we are fearful. We are horrified that this is going to happen to us. And then we also heard that you guys are on the other side of the Jordan. And I'm telling you, everyone is freaking out right now. So we're asking for mercy here. So the spies said to her, if you don't tell anyone about why we're here, we will protect you when we come to destroy this place. We're going to protect you. But if you tell anyone, we are free and void of this vow that we promised to you. And to signify this, you have to take this rope and drape it down over the wall. You just put it in your window, and we'll know that we're not going to destroy you and all this kind of stuff when the chaos ensues. So Rahab lowered them down, told them to go into the mountain and wait there for 3 days. After 3 days, they'll give up on you, and then you can go back to your camp. So the guards that went out looking for these two spies went out along the Jordan because they knew that these guys got to cross somewhere here. They didn't know where exactly, but they knew they're somewhere in that area. After 3 days, they gave up. And then the spies went back to Joshua. One of these spies, legend has it, was Salmon. Who's Salmon, you might ask? Well, he's the father of Boaz. The father of Boaz, which is interesting because this ties us in with our story. So imagine young Boaz growing up, hearing stories about the two spies and how they defeated AI, how they defeated all these kings, 31, I think it was 31 kings they destroyed, hung them. Joshua would, his thing, if you will, was to hang kings and then take them down at night. So he was one of the first people that created the crucifixion, created it. And don't think the devil didn't think about that. You take out 31 of his best in the land of Canaan, he's going to remember this. And I'm sure the devil's thinking one day the Son of Man shows up on earth, I'm going to crucify him. And I'm going to take his inheritance on the earth. I'm going to take it all of it, all of it. So that's why I think it was kept a secret as to when and where. They had scriptures that pointed to Bethlehem, which again centers around our story, what's going on here, because just before we read in the book of Moab or the book of Ruth, we see that there is a civil war going on, and a Levite priest actually cut up his concubine and sent it out to all the tribes of Israel saying, look, has anything like this been done before? Because the Benjamites actually raped his concubine, which is his wife, and raped her all night long. And they formed a civil war. They said, we're coming. We're going to wipe out the Benjamites. They surrounded the Benjamites. They did the same tactics as what Joshua did when they went to Ai. Some people were on the west, some people were on the north. Joshua pretended that they were in trouble and ran away, and then everyone came out of Ai, and they didn't realize it was a trap, because then the Israelites came out and went inside of Jericho, or Ai, inside of Ai, because it was on fire. And then Ai turned around to go back, and meanwhile Joshua turned around and surrounded them and wiped them out. Same thing happened with the Benjamites. They were coming out to go after some of the Israelites because they kept losing like 20,000 people a day. And they kept asking God, should we go and attack the Benjamites? He's like, go get them. They'd lose 20,000, again 20,000, again 20,000. So they're a little bit nervous about going out against the Benjamites because they kept losing. Then, finally, the war turned, and some of the Israelites actually lit one of the cities on fire. I believe it was Jerusalem. Burned it to the ground. I believe. I could be corrected. So they burned the city to the ground, and then the Benjamites fled into caves, and there was only 600 men left. 600. They were minutes from extinction, and Israel made a vow not to let their daughters marry the Benjamites. So they said, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. We actually are on the verge of losing the Benjamite tribe. There could be 11, which means, if you think about this far enough, no Paul. Paul came from the tribe of Benjamin. So think about this. If you don't have the Benjamites, you don't have Paul. You don't have a handful of Jews that are actually reaching out to the Gentiles to share the gospel of God. And you don't have the first king, which is Saul. It's interesting, right? So yeah, so they were brought down to about 600 left. And they asked, they said, okay, who was it that showed up at our, I want to say UN meeting, but it was kind of a United Nation meeting between all the tribes. They said, who of us did not show up to make a vow saying we're not giving our daughters to the Benjamites? Who didn't show up? Then they found out that it was some of the people on the other side of the Jordan, very close to Moab. So we have to remember the Reubenites, they're done. They don't need to fight anymore. They did everything that they had to do. So they're gone. They're on the eastern side of the Jordan, and the Gadites are also on that side of the Jordan, and the half tribe of Manasseh is on the other side of the Jordan as well. So they don't have to fight anymore. Joshua gave them the land. They're good to go. They fought hard, and they don't have to really to fight, because when you read at the beginning of Judges, first few chapters, you see Deborah. Some people call her Deborah. I call her Deborah, one of the female judges. After they defeated a wicked king in Moab, she was asking, where were the Reubenites? How come they didn't help us out? They didn't come because they had their land, so they didn't even bother to help out anymore. Then she also said, what about the Danites? How come they stayed in their ships? This is the song of Deborah. So you have 600 Benjamites left. The Israelites went and made a meeting with the Benjamites and said, look, we made a vow that you can't have our daughters because of the wickedness, but we also understand that you're going to be extinct any minute. So go over the Jordan and you can get yourself wives. And they only found, I think, 400 women. But there's about still 200 guys needed wives. So they said, here's what you do. Every year in Shiloh, women get together and they worship the Lord there. And these women that come out to dance, you are to take them as your wives. Now, to us today, obviously, that sounds like, wow, this is horrible, horrible, horrible. But how these guys position it, how the Israelites position it, was anyone that didn't make the vow, that didn't show up to help them defeat the Benjamites, those were the people where the Benjamites could go. So really, they captured about 100 to 200 wives for themselves, thus avoiding extinction. So the reason why I keep bringing Moab up is because Moab is a big deal a little bit later on, because Moab actually prevents David's family from getting wiped out. Because after Absalom wanted to take over the throne of David, David didn't even fight back. He said, if we stay here, this city's going to get destroyed and a lot of people are going to get killed. So let's leave. So his 300 men plus his family carried him across in a boat across the Jordan and left his family with the Moabites to take the king of Moab to take care of his family, including Abigail, because don't forget, the Moabites are related to King David because of Ruth. Ruth was a Moabitess. She came from Moab. So this all kind of ties in. It's kind of interesting how this stuff all works. And the reason why I bring up the Benjamites is that would have been fresh in Solomon's mind. He would have been alive during that time frame, and his son Boaz would have been a young child during the civil war with Israel versus the Benjamites. So you get all these stories about his great-grandfather or his grandfather, Salmon, and you also get the stories of the civil war with the Benjamites. And this all took place around Bethel, because that area was to be inhabited by Benjamin, the Benjamites. So they get that area. So you have the civil war going on, and you have sodomy going on because these men are crazy. They wanted to basically have sex with the Levite, and he sent out his concubine, and they raped her to death. So the Benjamites were in trouble. They were about to get wiped out by the Israelites. They said this has never happened before like this, other than Sodom and Gomorrah. But to them as a nation, no wickedness had ever been done like this. So that whole area was under civil war, which also meant that there was famine in that land because of the civil war, because of the wickedness that was going on. That land was becoming destitute. The land was actually vomiting out the people. God mentioned that in Deuteronomy to Moses. If my people don't follow me, this land one day will kick you out. It'll spew you out. It'll vomit you out. So you have that going on. So then Boaz's father, not Boaz's father, it would be Naomi's husband, they decided to go with his two sons and their two wives from Moab. They decided to go, and they spent 10 years in Moab. Why? Well, most likely because there was this civil unrest going on in the land of Israel. Hard times. So there was a famine in the land, and they decided to go to Moab. So that brings us to Ruth now. So just hopefully that gave you a little bit of a backstory. Let's see. How's everyone doing? Are you still here? Does that make sense? I didn't get to drink my coffee. Yeah, Fort Mac. Yeah, I used to live in Fort McMurray. That's where I grew up. All right, so let's go. Let's go into Ruth now. Hopefully you guys got a little bit of a backstory here. What was going on? So let's go now to Ruth. Let me just get rid of this banner here. There we go. All right, I'm going to make it full screen so you guys can read this here as I read it. Let me just make sure you guys can see this. Looks like it. All right. Judges 21. Again, this is we're just backing up just a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, no, we don't need to read this. So this is what I was basically talking to you about. The daughters of Shiloh, land of Benjamin. If their fathers or brethren come to complain, we'll say unto them, be favorable unto them for our sakes, because we reserve not each man's wife in the war, for he did not give unto them at this time that you should be guilty. Meaning, you didn't come to war with us, so just basically keep quiet over this matter. So the children of Benjamin took them wives, and Israel departed thence at that time, every man to his tribe and to his family. And they went out from thence, every man to his inheritance. In those days, there was no king of Israel. Every man did that which was right in his eyes. And this is important because legend has it that Samuel actually wrote the book of Judges. And Ruth as well. All right, so let's go into Ruth. Now, it came to pass in the day when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons Mahlon and Chilion, Ephrahites of Bethlehem, Judah. They came into the country of Moab and continued there. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left and her 2 sons, most likely because of the residue, if you will, from the Civil War. Probably malnourished because food was scarce. Maybe they suffered after battling the Benjamites. We don't know. We're not told here why Naomi's husband died, nor his 2 sons. All we know is they died. And I think it's most likely because of the Civil War. They just, if they had war wounds, who knows what, but just took its toll on them. And if there's famine in the land, again, if there's malnutrition, if there's disease in the land, whatever it is, this would make sense to me why they died. They took them wives of Moab, of the women of Moab. The name of one was Orpah, and the other was Ruth, and they dwelled there about 10 years. And Mahlon and Chilion died there, both of them, and the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. And she arose in her daughter's-in-law that she might return from the country of Moab, for she had heard in the country of Moab how the Lord had visited his people, giving them bread. Most likely because the Civil War is now over. It's finished, so now they can come back. Wherefore, she went forth, but you got to understand that this book was written about the time frame of within the time frame of the book of Judges. Wherefore, she went forth out of the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return unto the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her daughters-in-law, Go, return each of her to her mother's house, and the Lord deal kindly with you as ye have dealt with the dead and with me. This is interesting. We get the phrase, if you will, with the dead, as ye have dealt with the dead. Now, some people today might go, oh, that's a whole blanket of dead people. That's what this is talking about. Well, the dead is singular in this case. Singular, meaning they're talking about Naomi's husband. So the daughters have treated her kindly, and she's basically saying, go home. The Lord grant you that you might find rest, each of you in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. And they said unto her, Surely we will return unto thee, unto thy people. So both daughter-in-laws are saying, We'll come with you, Naomi. Naomi said, Turn again, my daughters. Will you go with me? Are there yet any more sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? Turn again, my daughters. Go your way, for I am too old to have an husband. If I should say I have hope, if I should have an husband also tonight, and should also bear sons, would ye tarry for them till they were grown? Would ye stay for them from having husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieveth me much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord is gone out against me. Now, this is also an expression that people would use in the Old Testament. They would just say, you know what? The Lord gives, the Lord takes away. The hand of the Lord is gone out against me. It's a phrase that they would use in the Old Testament. And they lifted up their voice and wept again. And Orpah, I always want to say Oprah, it's Orpah, kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave to her. She said, Behold, my sister, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back unto her people, and unto her gods return thou after thy sister-in-law. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee, for whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. And this shows up a lot of time on weddings. People will quote these verses from Ruth. I will lodge, thy people shall be my people, thy God, my God. In fact, I think we might have even read it during our vows 30-some years ago. Where thou diest, we didn't put this in there, though. Where thou diest, I will die. There will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me. Wow, that's dedicated. So enough said. Naomi's like, okay, I can't convince this girl to leave. When she saw that she was steadfastly minded to go with her, then she left, speaking unto her. So they two went unto Bethlehem. And it came to pass, when they were come to Bethlehem, that all the city was moved about them. And they said, is this Naomi? And she said unto them, call me not Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. And I went out full, and the Lord hath brought me home again empty. When you call me Naomi, seeing the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me. So Naomi returned, and Ruth, the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, which returned out of the country of Moab. And they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of barley harvest. Cool, eh? All right, so let's just come back to the crowd for a second here. How's everyone doing? You still with me? Let's go to the audience for a sec. So we got one chapter out of the way. Hard times for Naomi. Yeah, I love the King James Bible. Some people think it's a little bit dry. But you get a lot out of it. Like, you get a lot. Like, if you think about it, it was written in 1600s, late 1500s, early 1600s. So you can appreciate that history of whatever words were put in there. Those words are 400 years old. So now it's up to us with our current English to figure out what some of those words would have meant to those people back in the 1600s. That's how I read the King James Bible. Yeah, hopefully it sounds okay. I'm not the best reader on the planet. I'm not like James Earl Jones, but I do like the book of Ruth. So let's just jump in. We'll go in a little bit into chapter 2. There's some parts that I want to get to, and then we'll go from there. Like, really, this should only take 10 minutes to read it all. So let's just jump in, shall we? Let's jump in. Let me see here. All right, chapter 2. And Naomi had a kinsman of her husband's, a mighty man of wealth, and maybe I'll explain how the kinsman redeemer works. A mighty man of wealth of the family of Elimelech, and his name was Boaz. And Ruth, the Moabitess, said unto Naomi, let me now go into the field and glean ears of corn after him, in whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. And she went and came and gleaned in the field after the reapers, and her hap was to light on a part of the field belonging unto Boaz, who was of the kindred of Elimelech. So verse 3 is quite fascinating to me. She just happened to come upon a piece of land out of all Israel. Obviously, they're living in that area, Bethlehem. Just happened to go to an area that happened to be one of the nearest kinsman redeemer for Naomi. And if you've read Leviticus, or I think Numbers, it's mentioned there, but specifically in Leviticus, we get introduced to the idea of a kinsman redeemer. And the idea behind it is, if you don't have any children, or if you lose your spouse, if a woman loses her spouse, the next in line would be his brother. So let's say you have in this case Elimelech. He's passed away, so now you have Boaz, that was rumored to be the closest kinsman redeemer, which means if he wants to, he can actually continue the bloodline, if you will, on behalf of the lineage of that particular tribe, so that they wouldn't just get extinct. Because again, this was a concern, because look what happened to the Benjamites. They almost got wiped out. So if there's two brothers, one is supposed to marry the woman, and then she can have a child, and her firstborn would carry on the bloodline of her previous husband. And if they didn't do that, you're to take off the shoe and just, or slap the person in the face and spit on him and say, this person is not doing the redeeming thing, the right thing to do. So this person is shamed, and that person will have a new name now, basically the one that got slapped in the face at the gates because he didn't want to take care of his brother's bloodline. So in this case, we find out a little bit later that Boaz was actually not the nearest kinsman redeemer. It was actually someone else that was closer in relation to Naomi's husband. And they went to the gate, and we'll read that a little bit later, but basically the idea is he was closer. So Boaz had to, because he was a righteous man, he thought it would be best to advertise. This is where advertising came in. Hey, there's a piece of land here for you. It's good land. It's good land if you want it. It's all yours. It's all yours, man. You just say it's yours. And later we find out that the guy says, yeah, I want the land. He's, oh, sorry. Fine print. You also get a Moabite as your wife. What? I can't have a Moabite as my wife. I'm having enough time already having children here in this area and all this kind of stuff. I don't need that headache of having a Moabite, because of most likely they just wanted to stay in this land. They didn't want any mixed genealogy or anything like that. So that's that's kind of how the kinsman redeemer works, which is, hopefully that makes sense. Let's jump back into chapter 2. Let's see here. Okay. Kinsman, mighty man, wealth, family of Abimelech, and his name is Boaz. Okay, so they just happened to show up on that field. Behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem and said unto the reapers, the Lord be with you. They answered him, the Lord bless thee. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Yep. Okay. Then Boaz said unto his servant that was set over the reapers, whose damsel is this? Who the babe? I think that's in another language. I think maybe that's in Greek. Who the babe? Translated in English. Whose damsel is this? Maybe that's where the word damn came from. Not sure. Could be here. Don't know. Then the servant went and said over the reapers and answered and said, it is the Moabitish damsel that came back with Naomi out of the country of Moab. And she said, I pray you, let me glean and gather after the reapers among the sheaves. So she came and hath continued even from the morning until now, and that she tarried a little in the house. So she only took a little break. She wasn't with any union. She didn't have 2 15s and 1 30-minute break. She worked early in the morning to late at night, and then once in a while she'd take a little break. Then Boaz said unto Ruth, hearest thou not, my daughter? Go not to glean into another field, no, neither go from hence, but abide here fast by maiden. So what was happening was Ruth was actually gleaning, because in Leviticus it also says if you have foreigners, you have aliens, you have the poor people coming from other lands, don't go to the corners, man. Don't do that stuff. Like, don't, if you drop a sheaf of wheat, don't go back and pick it up. Just leave it for the foreigners. Let them eat from it, and I will bless you. Like, don't go, if you have 1,000 hectares of wheat, don't go to the edges and grab everything. Leave some. So just as you get to the outer edge, just kind of relax a little bit. Like, don't skim everything. Why? To allow the poor. I think this is also in preparation to allow Ruth to show up on this land, because they were listening to Boaz basically going not right to the edges, and that would be a good place to go. But it took her all day just to get enough food for her and Naomi. And Boaz noticed this. Notice this. So I said, hey, look, don't bother going anywhere else. I told the guys, I said, hey, look, you guys touch her. See this? I'm going to punch you in the face if you touch her. So I warned all the guys. You're gonna be in trouble if you touch her. And Boaz is an older man. And he told, while she's working, don't touch her. Just leave her alone. And in fact, when she's not looking, just throw a little bit extra, just out of your, as you're gleaning all the wheat and everything, just throw a little extra, That way she doesn't have to work as hard to get some of the barley. That was the season for barley. All right, let's go back. Let's continue. Go not to glean in another field, neither go from hence, but abide here. Stay here. Fast by my maidens. Let thine eyes be on the field that they do reap, and go thou after them. Have I not charged young men that they shall not touch thee? And when thou art athirst, go unto the vessels and drink of that which the young men have drawn. So I'm going to make it real easy for you. Then she fell on her face and bowed to herself to the ground and said unto him, why have I found grace in thine eyes? That's where he should have said, duh, look at you, that thou shouldst take knowledge of me, seeing I am a stranger. Clearly he's smitten by her. And Boaz answered and said unto her, it hath fully been shewed to me, that all thou hast done unto thy mother-in-law since the death of thine husband, and how thou hast left thy father and thy mother, and the hand of thy nativity, and art come unto a people which thou knewest not heretofore. The Lord recompense thy work, and a full reward be given thee of the Lord God of Israel, under whose wings thou art come to trust. Then she said, let me find favor in thy sight, my Lord, for thou hast comforted me, for that thou hast spoken friendly unto thine handmaid, though I be not like unto one of thine handmaids. And Boaz said unto her, after mealtime come thou hither, and eat of the bread, and dip thy morsel in the vinegar. So this is kind of where that tradition started. Remember when Jesus was saying, one of you is going to betray me tonight? And they're like, who? What? Me? Him? Her? Who? What? And Jesus basically said the hand, like, I'm gonna take this piece of bread and I'm gonna dip it into this vinegar, and I'm gonna hand it to someone. So this is where this tradition comes all the way back to here, when they're just having supper together. This was just a common thing to dip. Here you go. The disciples didn't know who was going to betray Jesus. It almost felt like the thought had crossed their mind at some time, thinking, this may not be the king that we thought he was. So they're asking Jesus, who's going to betray you? Is it me? And then John leans over and says, who is it? It says, the one that I dip this bread into the vinegar is the one that's going to betray me. And he handed it to Judas. Excuse me. All right, let's see here. So where am I? All right, so, and eat of the bread and dip thy morsel in the vinegar. And she sat beside the reapers, and he reached her parched corn, and she did eat, and was sufficed and left. And when she was risen up to glean, Boaz commanded his young man, saying, let her glean even among the sheaves, and reproach her not. And let fall some also the handfuls of purpose for her, on purpose for her, and leave them, that she may glean them, and rebuke her not. So just leave some extra handfuls on purpose. Don't rebuke her if she's grabbing all this stuff. So she gleaned in the field unto even, and beat out that she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. Now, off the top of my head, I'm not sure how much that is, but sounds like a lot. She took it up and went into the city, and her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and she brought her forth and gave to her what she had reserved after she was sufficed. So remember that the day before she was doing this all day and all night and probably had just barely enough for her and her mother. And now her mother-in-law said unto her, Where hast thou gleaned today? And where wroughtest thou? Like, where'd you go? Did you rob a store? Blessed be he that did take knowledge of thee. And she shewed her mother-in-law with whom she had wrought, and said, The man's name with whom I wrought this day is Boaz. So now Naomi's wheels are spinning. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, so we know it's Boaz. We know all this stuff. But the way it's written, it's like the author gave us a little bit of insight before. But if you come at it from Naomi's perspective, she had no idea here. Like, she's like, man, this guy is super uber wealthy and all this kind of stuff. It's probably maybe where Uber came from. I don't know. Super uber wealthy. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, Blessed be he of the Lord who hath not left his kindness to the living and to the dead, meaning Naomi's husband. And Naomi said unto her, The man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen. And Ruth the Moabitess said, He said unto me also, Thou shalt keep fast by my young men until they have ended all my harvest. Naomi said unto Ruth, her daughter-in-law, It is good, my daughter, that thou go out with his maidens, that they meet thee not in any other field. So it's good. Just go hang out, do what he says. Keep fast by the maidens of Boaz to glean until the end of barley harvest and of the wheat harvest, and dwelt with her mother-in-law. So she kept fast by the maidens of Boaz to the end of the wheat harvest and the barley harvest. This is important. It's over. The season is over, and Boaz, which could be looked at as a type of Christ, made it easy for her. And now it's over. It's over. Last chapter, I believe. Oh no, one more. Then Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her, My daughter, shall I not seek rest for thee, that it might be well with thee? And now is not Boaz of our kindred, whose maidens thou wast? Behold, he winnoweth barley. I think he's making beer. He's making some beer tonight. Tonight in the threshing floor. Wash thyself, therefore, clean yourself up, wash your feet, put on something nice, anoint thee, put thy raiment, put some perfume on, put thy raiment upon thee. That's interesting, right? New garment, new raiment, almost like you almost say like a wedding gown. And get thee down to the floor, but make not thyself known unto the man until shall have done eating and drinking. Wait until he's in a good mood. He'll be eating and drinking because the harvest season is over. Now it's time for celebration. And it shall be when he lieth down, that thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie, and thou shalt go in and uncover his feet and lay thee down, and he will tell thee what thou shalt do. So now some people say Naomi was saying, go have sex with him. Go uncover feet, because this is kind of a connotation in the Old Testament that's what that would mean. I don't think that's what that means here, only because of the following verses. So you can infer and say, oh no, she was sleeping with him right there. But let's just read on. And lay thee down, and he will tell thee what thou shalt do. And she said unto her, all that thou sayest unto me I will do. And she went down onto the floor and did according to all that her mother-in-law bade her. And when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of corn. And she came softly, quietly, uncovered his feet, and laid her down. And it came to pass at midnight that the man was afraid and turned himself, and behold, a woman was there at his feet. And this is kind of interesting because This, to me, this settles the idea that this was a righteous man right here. What do I mean? Well, I remember when I first got married, because my wife was my first. I remember I couldn't sleep when we got married. I couldn't sleep. Why? Because somebody's in my bed. I need to get a good night's sleep. And I have someone wrapping her arms around me. And it's like, hey, move away. Give me some space. I need space here. I'm trying to sleep. I'm kidding. If my wife's watching this, she's gonna get mad at me because it's kind of the other way around. It's kind of the other way around. But this is my story. She's all over me. Wife's all over me. And but I couldn't sleep because you have someone in your bed with you. And you got to get used to this new roommate. You got to get used to this person that you just married. Well, it's not easy sleeping. I used to have crazy dreams. I have crazy dreams running after a dog sled. I know I'm in Canada. I've never owned a dog sled, but I had a dream chasing my brother-in-law in deep snow, and my brother had a dog sled. And he just never had. His name is Blaine. He's never had a dog sled. But I was chasing him down through deep snow, and I could hardly move my feet. Like, man, this snow is so deep. And then when I woke up, I realized that my feet were wrapped in blankets and I couldn't move my feet. So I was struggling. And my wife's like, dude, what are you doing? Go to sleep. I would have nightmares like that. Crazy dreams. So Boaz just finished having a little party, little wheat harvest party. Got some yeast in his belly, a little bit of beer. Got a little merry. And in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, whoa, and there's a woman here. It's crazy, right? Crazy. But it makes sense to me. Kind of makes sense to me. I get it. I get what you're throwing down there, Boaz. I get it. I've been there, bro. A woman lay at his feet, and he said, who art thou? And she said, I am Ruth, thine handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt over thine handmaid. Like, take care of me, basically. Like, I'm basically proposing to you is what this looks like to me. For thou art a near kinsman. And he said, blessed be thou of the Lord, my daughter, for thou hast showed more kindness in the latter end than at the beginning. Huh, that's interesting. Latter end than at the beginning. Inasmuch as thou followest not young men, whether rich or poor or rich. And now, my daughter, fear not, I will do thee all that thou requirest, for all the city of my people doth know that thou art a virtuous woman. So this is why I said I don't think they're sleeping together, because she was a virtuous woman and she had a reputation for being virtuous. Now it is true that I am thy near kinsman, howbeit there is a kinsman nearer than I. Tarry this night, and it shall be in the morning that if he'll perform unto thee the part of the kinsman, well, as in, great, that's fantastic. So happy for you, you'll be taken care of. Let him do the kinsman part. But if he will not do the kinsman part, the kinsman unto thee, then will I do the part of the kinsman unto thee. I will marry you. I will take care of you. As the Lord liveth, I swear, I promise, this is my vow to you. Lie down until morning. And she lay at his feet until morning, and she rose up before one could know another. Man, that's interesting. To me, this feels a little rapture-esque in nature. She lay at his feet until morning, said, I'm going to take care of you. And she woke up before anyone else woke up. Everyone else slept. She woke up and she was gone, gone, gone. And he said, let it not be known that a woman came into the floor. Also, he said, bring the veil that thou hast upon thee. So she also had a veil. Think about this. Like I know I joked a little bit earlier that she had a wedding garment on. You could pose a strong argument that she had a wedding veil over her. And he's like, who is this woman? Very interesting. This is almost similar to what Jacob woke up to. He woke up, except it was Leah. Cross-eyed Leah. Lazy eye. Imagine waking up and she has a little bit of a wandering eye. It's like her eyes are going sideways kind of thing. I don't know. Anyways. Don't know why I brought up Leah, but Same thing, though. Jacob woke up. He's like, hey, what's going on here? And when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, who art thou, my daughter? Oh, wait. Skip too far. Let's see here. And she lay at his feet until morning, and she rose up before anyone could know another. And he said, let it not be known that a woman came into the floor. If you tell anyone, I will punch you in the eye. Also, he said, bring the veil that thou hast. Okay. And when she held it, he measured 6 measures of barley and laid it onto her. And she went out into the city. And when she came to her mother-in-law, she said, who art thou, my daughter? And she told her all that the man had done unto her. And she said, these 6 measures of barley gave he me. For he said to me, go not empty unto thy mother-in-law. I will take care of her too. Then said she, sit still, my daughter, until thou know how the matter will fall. For the man will not be in rest until he have finished the thing this day. We'll go on to the last chapter, but I want to come back to you guys and see how everyone's doing. So far, so good. Interesting title name there, little B. Yeah, so we're in the last chapter. We're home. We're on the home front now. Interesting stuff. Now we're going to get into the kinsman redeemer part. So let's just dive back into it. Then Boaz went up to the gate and sat him down there. And behold, the kinsman of the woman of whom Boaz spake came by, unto whom he said, ho, such a one, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down, and he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, sit ye down here. And they sat down. And he said unto the kinsman, Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, selleth a parcel of land, which was our brother Emelech's. And I thought to advertise it to thee. I'm advertising it to you. I'm letting you know this parchment of land, this parcel of land is available for you. Buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people. If thou wilt redeem it, redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, then tell me that I may know, for there is none to redeem it besides thee, and I am after thee. And he said, I will redeem it. I'll take it. There's land available. I will take it. Then Boaz said, what day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth, the Moabitess. Man, I can't read. Then Boaz said, what day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar mine own inheritance. It's interesting that Naomi's name, she wanted to be called Mara. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem it, nor do I want to. Now, this was the manner in former time in Israel concerning, so this is written after this all happened, obviously. Again, most people think this was Samuel that wrote this. Concerning redeeming and concerning changing, for to whom all things a man plucked off a shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel. Therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, buy it for thee. So he drew off a shoe. And Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people, ye are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's, and all that was Chilion's, and all that was Mahlon's of the land of Naomi. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren and from the gate of his place. Ye are witnesses today, this day. And all the people that were in the gate, and the elders said, we are witnesses. The Lord make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel. Interesting, right? And like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel. This is where we get the 12 tribes of Israel. This is where we get the nation of Israel from these two women. And do thou worthily in Ephratah, and be famous in Bethlehem. Guaranteed she is going to be famous. Why? Because her great grandson ends up being King David. And let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, of the seed which the Lord shall give thee of this woman. So, paralleling this story here of Tamar, who did a righteous thing by ending up having Judah marry Tamar, and then Pharez came from Tamar. So they're saying, may you be blessed in the same way. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went in unto her, the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. And the women said unto Naomi, Blessed be the Lord, which hath not left thee this day without a kinsman, that his name may be famous in Israel, and he shall be unto thee a restorer of thy life, and a nourisher of thine old age, for thy daughter-in-law, which loveth thee, which is better to thee than 7 sons. This is interesting because this comes up in 1 Samuel, where Hannah's husband says, aren't I better to you than 10 sons? This is probably where this came from, this idea. So Ruth is better than 7 sons because she bore him a son. Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it. And the women, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi, and they called his name Obed. He is the father of Jesse, the father of David. Now these are the generations of Pharez. Pharez begat Hezron. Hezron begat Ram. Ram begat Amminadab. Amminadab begat Nahshon. Nahshon begat Salmon. Here's Salmon. That's the husband of Rahab. And Salmon begat Boaz, and Boaz begat Obed, and Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David. And that is the end of the book of Ruth. We actually accomplished it. We did it. We did it just inside 1 hour. 1 hour it took us. So hopefully you got something out of that. You know, not too much of a real teaching today. We didn't go really deep on this, but I think it's important to, this is how I approach the Bible. I sit down and I just try to read an entire book whenever I sit down. So for you, for example, if you're reading the book of Ruth, it only takes a little bit. Like I know it took us longer today, but it takes you 10 minutes. Just read the whole book before you get up and go do something else. If I'm reading the book of Samuel, I won't go and read anything else in the Bible until I'm done reading that book. Mostly, I'd say 80%, 90% of the time. Like I'm not going to skip halfway through Samuel and start reading Matthew. I just won't do that. I'll finish Samuel first. And this is what allows you to get through the Bible faster. Finish the book that you started. So if you're starting Genesis, finish it before you go on to Acts, before you go on to Romans or anything else. Now, what I also do is my devotional time in the morning is just me plowing through the Bible. But sometimes during the afternoon, I'll do something like this. I'll read Ruth, or I'll be reading other scriptures because, for example, I'm on Uptime Community Church tonight, which you guys should go check out tonight. I'll be there, and then we're having overtime after Uptime tonight, so that should be fun. We're going to go heavy tonight, so probably a couple of hours on Uptime and then another hour or so on overtime. But this is what I do while I'm doing my other work, is I think about scripture during the day. And then at night before I go to bed, I usually read a little bit more, just like, oh, what am I going to read tomorrow? And I'll start, like, say, for example, I started 1 Samuel already today, But let's just say, for example, I was going to start Samuel tomorrow. For Samuel, I would read something tonight about Samuel. Maybe I'll watch maybe a video on YouTube about the history of Samuel, for Samuel, when it was written or something like that. Or maybe I'll just read a chapter or two of Samuel. Maybe I'll skim through the whole book and just kind of have an idea of what's going on. And then the next morning, I just jump right into it. I just jump and I just sit there. There's no time limit. Maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 2.5 hours. Don't know. I just read. So hopefully that helps out. Because again, this is something that I've learned in the past 3 years. It's thanks to my wife. She actually prayed for me over a period of 90 days that I would get a hunger for his word. She didn't tell me to read the King James Bible. She reads the New Living Translation, but her devotion, she's never missed. If you ask her, she'll say she's missed. But to me, she's never missed a day in her marriage. Whereas for me, I would go up and down all over the place. I would read a verse a day. Sometimes I would read a chapter a day, and then I would not read my Bible for a month, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever. I just wouldn't read. And then she prayed for me for 90 days. And all of a sudden, I started reading the Bible. And I started with the King James. I read the book of Romans every day for 30 days, the entire book of Romans, 30 times. And then a pilot light was lit. And since then, I am on my 16th time in less than 3 years of being through the entire Bible. And it's getting better and better and better all the time. I'm telling you, it's amazing. And I don't know if it's just because it's the King James Bible, because it's not an easy book to get through. But I'm telling you, I can't put it down. I can't put the book down. And like I said, I should be finished in the next couple of weeks, the entire book, which would be my 4th time this year. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying that it's something amazing is happening, and it's only because I just started plowing into the Bible, and it was because of my wife, honestly. She prayed for me for 3 months. Imagine having your spouse that doesn't tell you that she's praying for you to read more of the word. That was her secret prayer. She didn't tell me until she saw me reading it day and night, and she's like, "You know what else this Bible does?" Came up to me and closed the Bible and said, "Go to bed. Come to bed. Enough reading the Bible." Interesting, right? And I'm not one of those guys that was a King James guy. That was not me 3 years ago. I was like, "No, thanks. I'm not a thee, thou guy. I'm not interested in reading the King James Bible." But once I picked it up and started reading it, man, I can't put it down. Can't put it down. And if I can read the whole Bible in a day, I would, if I could. I'm just not that fast. I'm not that fast of a reader. But what happens is the books get squished. Like when you read Genesis like a month ago, and you're reading something now in Samuel, that's not so far away, because I went through, really in the last month, the first 6 books of the Bible, Genesis all the way to Joshua. And then yesterday I went through Judges. Done. 2 hours, 2.5 hours, done. Judges done. So now I'm doing Ruth today. Tomorrow I'll do First Samuel. And maybe I can do it in a day. I don't know. Usually if like this is easy now for me. Like we're getting in after you get past Numbers, it gets easy till Isaiah. And then Isaiah starts to get a little heavy. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, that's heavy, heavy, heavy stuff. So when I get into those books, I go back and forth between that and the New Testament, because it feels like you're holding your head underwater, because there's so much going on against Israel. You'd almost feel like God is an anti-Semite. as to all the curses and everything that's going on in Israel and all the trauma, everything that's going on in Israel. It is not good news. It's not good news. So if you live in that and you're reading it for weeks at a time, it gets you down a little bit. It just does. Like, oh, here's another story of another king failing or falling. That gets you down a little bit, because you could start to get a little bit of insight as to how God felt about what's happening to his nation, that he basically plucked out of the fires of Egypt, brought them out of there, and they all fell away, just like Moses predicted that they would do when he wrote the Song of Moses. Before they're going into the promised land, he said, you're going to forget about your God. As soon as I die at 120, you guys are going to forget about me, and God's going to kick you out of this land. The land's going to vomit you out. He's going to kick you out of this land, but one day in the future, he's going to bring you back. That's before they stepped into the promised land. Imagine hearing those words before you go on to it's Game 7, World Series baseball. You have the New York Yankees against the LA Dodgers. And just before you go into Game 7, the coach says, oh, by the way, you're going to lose. In fact, you're going to be swept. Like this game, you're not going to get one run, nothing. Imagine that going onto the field. That'd be pretty tough. Pretty tough. That's what Moses did. Moses did that in at the end of Deuteronomy. He said, look, you guys, I know what you're going to do. I know your heart. As soon as I die, you're going to fall away. And this is what happened in the book of Judges. Every time a judge died, they rebelled until they got to the point where they're like, oh, we need a savior. Somebody help us, help us. And then a judge would show up, like Gideon, like Samson. Interesting, right? And I feel strongly that this is what's going on with Israel today. I feel this. I feel this, that Israel is not acknowledging God the Father, not acknowledging God the Son, Jesus Christ. Instead, they're focusing on their weapons, and this has been a pattern. This is not something new. This is something that Israel has done ever since they left Egypt. They wanted to do things on their own. And they complained. They got mad at God. They said, you brought us out here to destroy us because there wasn't enough graves in Israel, and we're not happy with you. You're not equal. You're not being fair to us. All this stuff. God faced it all, heard it all. And this is what's happening today. They don't acknowledge Jesus Christ as their king, the King of Israel. They don't acknowledge it. In fact, you can get in trouble to say things like that, even though the whole Bible is about the King of Israel. So until that day comes where their weapons fail them and they turn, they ask God to protect them because they're getting carried away out of their land again. They don't believe it's going to happen. You talk to the Prime Minister of Israel, he'll say, no, we will never be defeated. We're never going to get carried away. We're never going to lose our land again. I don't think he read Zechariah 14, though. 2/3 of Israel gets diminished in the latter days. That's coming down the pipes. So continue to pray for Israel, pray for them, that this doesn't happen, but you also know that it's going to happen. Why? To turn them to God. It's not to punish them and to wipe them out, because God said Israel will never be destroyed. They will never be extinct. That's why they're still here today. It's not because they're righteous, it's because of God's promise. Anyways. All right. So lots of stuff, but I hope you guys join us tonight on Uptime Community Church. Should be fun. That's at 6:30 my time. It's in a few hours. I gotta go get freshened up, get dollied up, and we'll see you guys in a few hours. Hope you enjoyed this Bible study. If you have, make sure to subscribe. Make sure and check out some of the other guys that have been on my channel. Derek always has a Bible study on his channel. I think it's called Bible Study with Derek. You can also join up with Gary Geitz. He talks a lot about his new book, that he has. And then Girl Who Loves Jesus. You can go check out her channel, Amy Moosefelt. Check her channel out. And again, thanks guys for watching today, and I will see you in another video. Bye for now. All right, I'm back by popular demand. Let's do something a little fun, shall we? Let's do something a little fun. Let's go check out Bible Study with Derek. Let's go have a look at his YouTube channel. His channel is growing by leaps and bounds. Let's have a look at it. So right now he is at 986 subscribers. So my ask of you is to go to his channel right now if you've not subscribed to his channel, and subscribe. Let's get him to 1,000 subscribers. Let's do it right now. He won't even know. He'll be busy doing something else. All of a sudden he'll show up and he'll be like, what? 1,000 subscribers and only 27 views? Like, you gotta understand, Derek just started this channel September 1st. You can also find him on a Zoom call. He does Bible studies Friday night. So just click on this link here. Go check him out on Friday nights, and then on Rumble as well. That's where he used to hang out quite a bit. I think he's kind of spends time between Rumble and YouTube. So go check him out. Check out his videos. He's got some pretty good teachings. Of course, I was on his channel on Friday night, a few nights ago. I think it was this one here. Can you see? You see me here? I think. Let's see here, right here. Oh yeah, okay. So he ended it, and then I was on after. I think after about an hour. So watch this show. What else can I tell you? Let's go to Girl Who Loves Jesus. See what she's up to. Usually she has a testimony on a Friday. So you can go check out her stuff as well. That's Amy Moosefelt right there. She has about 2,000 subs plus. Girl Who Loves Jesus 7, Amy Moosefelt. Go check out her stuff. When's her next live? I think it's Friday. I think it's coming up here. Yeah, 2 days, a couple days. It's coming up. So she has people's testimony on there. My sister was on there about 4 months ago. That's her right there, Amy. Let's see, when was I on there? Oh yeah, there's me right there. 7 months ago. There's me right there. So if you want to watch that, that's my testimony. I give my testimony on her channel. Greg's on there. Who else is on there? I think everybody from Uptime has been on her channel at one time or another. Even Cindy Ray has been on there. Who else? Let's go check out Departure Heaven. Let's go check out Departure Heaven. Let's see what is Rickshawed Rick up to. What's he up to here? Let's see here. Nobody goes live anymore. You notice that? Nobody goes live during the day. So we had a video 16 hours ago. Prophecy Mondays, all hell will break loose before November 5th. Ooh, oh, that's interesting. Let's go there for a second.
La 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 la.
Oh, that must be a video that he created. So let's see here. Let's just skip through it here. See what Rick has to say. Will you be ready? He's usually got some good stuff going on.
Up as quickly as possible on the ark, because the ark is coming quickly. Jesus is getting ready to rapture his church. And
look at this, 2,000 views. Rick is on fire. He's over 3,000 subscribers. He is on fire.
It's coming really quickly.
So if you check out his channel, he usually has something going on Mondays.
We can be out of here any day now, folks. This is how close it is.
Who else is on this channel?
It's a sukkah.
Look at that. Derek and Bob were on there at the same time. That's pretty cool. Anyone else? Who else is on there?
And really, I got tonight off, you know.
Cool. Who else? Oh, more people showing up. Joshua. He's on there as well. So yeah, they were going pretty hot and heavy last night. That's cool. Who else do we have? Okay, and then of course tonight, Uptime Community Church. They'll be on tonight. Check it out. Let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. Feast of Trumpets. 2 weeks ago. Let's just see here. Let's see the live. So what's happening tonight? Let's see here. I thought they're on tonight. They are. Why can't I see their link? Am I missing it? I'm pretty sure they're going on tonight. 6 days. Usually there's a little link going on their channel. I don't see it. Huh. I might have to ask them about that. I don't see it because if I'm pretty sure I got a link. I'm pretty sure they're on. Just for some reason, I can't see their thumbnail for tonight. I'm pretty sure, though, they're on tonight. I almost bet on it that they're on tonight. Just trying to see if I see their live stream. Huh. I know they're there. I know they're going to be on. Anyways, what am I missing a channel? Oh, yeah, Gary Gates. What's going on here? What's going on with Gary? Let's see here. Gary Gates. Where is he? Gary Gates. Oh, not so random. Acts of kindness. There we go. Not to be confused with Bill Gates, by the way. Not to be confused with Bill Gates. So when's his next live? Some people don't always do live shows like I do, but go check out his videos. Yeah, he's talking lots about his book right now, so go check out his book. I actually have his book somewhere here. Right here. Right here. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let's come back to me for a sec. I have his book right here, Surviving What Could Have Been by Gary Paul Gates. You should put Gary Bill Gates in there, and then he can call himself Bill. But anyways, good book. Light read. You can read this in an evening. It's a pretty good book. I'd encourage you. I think you can buy it on Amazon, I believe, as well. You can go to his website, and you can buy this book. Strongly encourage you to do that. So, this is what you get for sticking around. This is what you get. You get a little extra sauce. So thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate you. And this time, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Bye for now. I have to show you something here. Let's see if we can find this before my sister calls me. I don't know if she's watching this right now, but I think there's a blooper. Let's go to this blooper here. See if I can find this blooper. There was a time we did a live show. I think it was this one. And we lost our minds on this one. We couldn't get it back. It was very difficult. We were doing a live show, and I think it was this episode. I'm going to see if I can find it near the end where we both had the giggles, both her and I. This is my sister Amy. Her channel is Revelation Harvesters. Go check it out. Let me see if I can find that episode where we started laughing like nuts. So I think it was here. Let me just bear with me for a second.
I'm really excited, and I just want to thank you for all the encouragement that I've been seeing in the comments and all the subscribers, and it's just truly amazing, and I just love it. And so I was going to come on tonight and do a video, and it's going to be called Lazarus Come Forth, Righteousness Unbound. And pretty much just before I pressed record, my brother reached out to me, and I said, "Hey, Joseph, want to join me?" So he said, "Yeah, of course." So I'm going to bring my brother Shane in. I'm pretty sure all of you know who he is, but he is with Black Swan Revelations, amazing channel. You need to check that out. And so I'm just going to bring him in, and I just love our little banterings back and forth in regards to the word. And he's so insightful, and he's just been a true blessing. So I just want to bring him in. Hello, Brosif. Oh, I got you muted. I'm going to unmute you.
That's funny. Okay, so let's find. Let me see if I can find it. Where was it? I think it was at the end. Trying to find. There's a part where we just started laughing and giggling, and where was it? Bear with me for a second here. I wish she knew which one it was. Let's see here. Because it went on for a few minutes. Yay, Lord. It has to be in here. Let's see.
Like looking like
Just seeing if I can see.
Accentuating the but they thought that
Awkward. Okay, then. And then all of a sudden, it's all right. It's all good.
like the dynamic here. I keep forgetting I have to navigate.
I think it's here. Yeah, no. It's all right. It's all good. All right. Where are we?
I need to hire. Well, that's
Beginning. No. I think this is the light. I think this is it that has come into the world. I think this is it. And darkness couldn't comprehend it. Let's see.
But it's interesting enough that like this is a bold statement because they knew exactly what this meant. Yep. Right? Like, and then he asked her, "Do you believe this?" And she says, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is to come into the world." Future. Future.
It's interesting. Yeah.
So let's pull it up. Let's go over here. So what does this guy say? So this one says 27.
This is good.
She saith unto him, "Yea, Lord."
Yeah, Lord. That's funny.
I believe.
So funny. How can you tell we're getting tired now? I think I probably have like another 20 minutes or so, and then my brain is fried. But this is good. Yeah, Lord.
Oh, that's good.
A bit of an inside joke there, but it's funny. Yeah. Now we got the giggles.
Yeah. Okay. So it's hard for me not to say it like that now. Okay. I believe that thou art the Christ, the Son of God, who should come into the world. Who should come into the world.
Mhm.
Should.
So I am at this moment of time, I am biting my lip. She says, "Yea, Lord." And I lost my mind because I just couldn't get it back. And I'm starting to bite my lip and my tongue and everything. And I'm just like, there's no way for me to get out of this. I'm gonna start laughing and just watch what happens here. It's crazy. You know,
So it's like she recognizes Christ. She's saying that he's the Christ and he is the Son of God who is to come into the world, who should come into the world. So it's like, what's going on here? Like, is to come future and who should? It's like, it's almost like it's like expected. You try not to laugh.
I can't help it now. I just hear you saying, "Yay, Lord." Where did that come from? Oh man, I got the giggles, and this is the worst time to have the giggles when you're near the end. And I'm like,
Yes, Lord.
I just can't stop now.
Like when I read that, I just wanted that accent, that like Southern accent. I don't know.
I don't know where that came from, but oh Lord, help me, because now I have the giggles. My eyes are watering. I'm biting my lip. I'm biting my tongue and everything, trying not to laugh. Oh man, I'm gonna be giggling in my sleep too in the middle of the night. Going, "Yeah, Lord." Like, who says that? Anyways. Oh man, how can you tell we're tired? It's been a long day.
Okay. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, we have to move on to another verse because I'll
Okay.
never look at it the same way now. Oh man.
Okay. Whew. All right. Oh,
boy.
love the King James version. Okay.
Can you take me off the screen for a sec so I can just, oh man. Woo. Caught me off guard.
Okay. Move on. We got some good
Hey.
stuff here.
I know.
Okay.
Oh man. Caught me off guard.
Okay. So, and when oh man. Oh.
Oh man. This is bad. Good thing we weren't live. Can you imagine? Oh man. Oh,
Okay.
there must be something in my coffee or something.
Oh no.
Wow.
It's just the joy of the Lord. Okay.
That's what it is. Oh man.
It's just the joy of the Lord.
Oh boy. My goodness.
Okay.
If I can. Oh man.
I'm trying not to say it so bad right now. Let's read that.
Oh, if I could punch myself in the face, I would. Just to make myself stop. Okay,
This is
focus.
good. We gotta focus. Okay. And when she said,
That's good.
when she had said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, secretly.
Wow. Okay. The teacher has come and is calling for you. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him.
I think we survived. We survived, but I'm telling you, that was like I even had tears while I was watching it. That's just sometimes that just happens, you know, if you're recording a video. And I think it was late. I think it was like midnight or something. We were only going to go for like 10 minutes and we went 2 hours. And oh man, I almost couldn't bring it back. I was like, we're done. We are done. Anyways, this is why you stick around after we're done our show. Hope you got something out of it. This time, I promise I'm out of here now. So you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. and we'll see you in another video. Bye for now.